Okay. Mani, do you want to start us off? And then you can popcorn it to the next person.
Sure. Do I do Sanskrit first and then English, or we'll come back to English?
Um, I think we can do Sanskrit and English. Yeah.
Okay. वाचोवेगं मनसक्रोधवेगं जीवावेगम् उदरपस्थवेगम् एतान् वेगान् योऽभिषहेत धीर सर्वम् अभिमां पृथिवीं शशिष्यात्. A sober person who can tolerate the urge to speak, the mind's demands, the actions of anger, and the urges of the tongue, belly, and genitals is qualified to make disciples all over the world.
And do you want to popcorn it to someone?
Yeah, Chaitanya Nityanam.
प्रत्याहारप्रयासश्च प्रजल्पनियमाग्रहः जनस्सङ्गश्च लौल्यं च षड्भिर्भक्तिविनश्यति. One's devotional service is spoiled when he becomes too entangled in the following 6 activities. 1. Eating more than necessary or collecting more funds than required. 2. Over-endeavoring for mundane things that are very difficult to obtain. 3. Talking unnecessarily about mundane subject matters. 4. Practicing the scriptural rules and regulations only for the sake of following them, and not for the sake of spiritual advancement, or rejecting the rules and regulations of the scriptures and working independently or whimsically. 5. Associating with worldly-minded persons who are not interested in Krishna consciousness. And 6. Being greedy for mundane achievements. Popcorn Parth.
Could y'all read the Sanskrit?
Yes. Got you. उत्साह निश्चयधैर्यात् तत्कर्म प्रवर्तनात् सङ्गत्यागात् सतो वृते षड्भिर्भक्ति प्रसिद्ध्यति.
Should I read the English?
Yes, go for it.
There are 6 principles favorable to the favorable to the execution of pure devotional service. 1. Being enthusiastic. 2. Endeavoring with confidence. 3. Being patient. 4. Acting according to regulative principles such as Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smaranam, hearing, chanting, and remembering Krishna. 5. Abandoning the association of non-devotees. And 6. Following in the footsteps of the previous acharyas. These 6 principles undoubtedly assure the complete success of pure devotional service.
And then popcorn.
I'll popcorn it to Vivaan.
ददाति प्रति गृह्णति गुह्यम् अक्ष्यति पृच्छति भुङ्क्ते भोजयते चैव षड्विधं प्रीतिलक्षणम्. Offering gifts in charity, accepting charitable gifts, revealing one's mind in confidence, inquiring confidently, and accepting prasadam and offering prasadam are the 6 symptoms of love shared by one devotee and another.
Do you want to pass it on to someone?
I'll popcorn it to Mayuri.
Can somebody else read the Sanskrit?
Yes. Krishniti yasya kiritam manasadriyeta dikshasti chit pranatibhischa bhajantamisham shushrushraya bhajana vignyamananyamanya nindadi shunyadam ipshita sangalavdya.
One should mentally honor the devotees who chant the holy name of Lord Krishna. One should offer humble obeisances to the devotee who has undergone spiritual initiation, diksha, and is engaged in worshipping the deity. And one should associate with and faithfully serve that pure devotee who has advanced in undeviated devotional service and whose heart is completely devoid of the of the propensity to criticize others. I popcorn to Niharika.
Vishte स्वभावजनितैव कुशस्य दोषे न त्वकृतत्वमिह पश्येत् गङ्गां वसन्न खलु बुद्व्युदपेन पङ्कैः ब्रह्माद्रवत्वमपगच्छति निरधर्मैः. Being situated in his original Krishna conscious position, a pure devotee does not identify with the body. Such a devotee should not be seen from a materialistic point of view. Indeed, one should overlook a devotee's having a body born in a low family, a body with a bad complexion, a deformed body, or a diseased or infirm body. According to ordinary vision, such imperfections may seem prominent in the body of a pure devotee. But despite such seeming defects, the body of a pure devotee cannot be polluted. It is exactly like the waters of the Ganges, which sometimes during the rainy season are full of bubbles, foam, and mud. The Ganges waters do not become polluted. Those who are advancing in spiritual understanding will bathe in the Ganges without considering the condition of the water. Popcorn Ryan, if you're able to read. Okay, otherwise, Manya, you can go ahead.
स्यात् कृष्णनामचरितादिसितप्यविद्या पीतोपतप्तरसनस्य न रोचिकानो किन्त्वादरात् अनुदिनं खलु सैव दृष्टा स्वाद्विक्रमाद्भवति तद्गतमूलहन्त्रे. The holy name, character, pastimes, and activities of Krishna are all transcendently sweet, like sugar candy. Although the tongue of one afflicted by the jaundice of avidya, ignorance, cannot taste anything sweet, it is wonderful that simply by carefully chanting these sweet names every day, a natural relish awakens within his tongue, and his disease is gradually destroyed at the root. A part can go. Part, do you want to read next?
Yeah, I could go. Could someone read the Sanskrit again?
Yeah, I can read it. तन्नामरूपचरितादिसुकीर्तनानो स्मृत्यो क्रमेण रसना मनसि नियोज्य तिष्ठन् व्रजेत्तदनुरागी जनानुगामी कालं नयेत् अखिलमित्युपदेशसारम्.
The essence of all advice is that one should utilize one's full time, 24 hours a day, in nicely chanting and remembering the Lord's divine name, transcendental form, qualities, and eternal pastimes, thereby gradually engaging one's tongue and mind. In this way, one should reside in Vraja, Golok Vrindavan Dham, and serve Krishna under the guidance of devotees. One should follow in the footsteps of the Lord's beloved devotees, who are deeply attached to his devotional service. I can popcorn it to Ryan.
I think he may not be able to read right now. Vivan, do you want to go?
Sure. Vaikunta Vara Madhupuri Tatrapi Rashoshavad Vrinda Ranyam Udharapani Ramanatad Tatrapi Govardhana Radha Kundam Ihapi Gokula Pate Prema Mrita Plavanat Kuryad Ashya Virajato Giri Tate Sevam Viveki Naka. The holy place known as Mathura is spiritually superior to Vaikuntha, the transcendental world, because the Lord appeared there. Superior to Mathura Puri is the transcendental forest of Vrindavan, because of Krishna's Rasa Leela pastimes, and superior to the forest of Vrindavan is Govardhan Hill, for it was raised by the divine hand of Sri Krishna and was the site of his various loving pastimes. And above all, the super excellent Sri Radha Kunda stands supreme, for it's overflooded with the ambrosial nectarian prema of the Lord of Gokul, Sri Krishna. Where, then, it is that intelligent person who is unwilling to serve this divine Radha Kunda, which is situated at the foot of Govardhan Hill.
Do you want to popcorn it?
I'll popcorn to Chaitanya Nitai now.
कर्मेभ्यः परितो हरे प्रियतया व्यक्तिं ययोज्ञानिनास् तेभ्यो ज्ञानविमुक्तभक्तिपरमप्रेमैकनिष्ठास्तथा तेभ्यस्ता पशुपालपङ्कजदृशस्ताभ्योऽपि साराधिका प्रेष्ठा तद्वदीयं तदीयसरसीतां kakrati. In the Shastra it is said that of all types of fruitive workers, he who is advanced in knowledge of the higher values of life is favored by the Supreme Lord Hari. Out of many such people who are advanced in knowledge, jnanis, one who is practically liberated by virtue of his knowledge, may take to devotional service. He is superior to the others. However, one who has actually attained prema, pure love of Krishna, is superior to him. The gopis are exalted above all the advanced devotees because they are always totally dependent upon Sri Krishna, the transcendental cowherd boy. Among the gopis, Srimati Radharani is the most dear to Krishna. Her Kunda lake is as profoundly dear to Lord Krishna as this most beloved of the gopis. Who then will not reside at Radha Kund and in a spiritual body surcharged with ecstatic devotional feelings of Prakrita Bhav, render loving service to the divine couple Sri Sri Radha Govinda, who perform their Ashtakalya Leela, their eternal eightfold daily pastimes. Indeed, those who execute devotional service on the banks of Radha Kund are the most fortunate people in the universe. Popcorn to Mayuri.
Krishna Shyochai Pranaya Vasati Preyasibhyopi Radha Kundam Chasya Munibir Abitas Tadrik Eva Yadyayi Yad Prastai Apyalam Asulabham Kim Punar Bhakti Bhajam Tad Premedam Sakridapi Sarasnatur Aviskaroti. Of the many objects of favored delight and of all the lovable damsels of Vrajabhumi, Srimati Radharani is certainly the most treasured object of Krishna's love, and in every respect her divine Kunda is described by great sages as similarly dear to him. Undoubtedly, Radhakunda is very rarely attained even by the great devotees. Therefore, it is even more difficult for ordinary devotees to attain. If one simply bathes once within those holy waters, one's pure love of Krishna is fully aroused.
Okay. Thank you so much, everybody, for reading. I actually have a quick question. So, in the second verse, where it talks about activities that are not favorable for one's devotional service, a lot of them like made sense to me, but the one where it was like not eating too much was kind of like I wasn't able to place that. So, does anybody have like an anecdote or something that could help understand? Also, could you pull up the verse, Sienna? Vivan, I see you have something to say.
So immediately when you asked that question, my mind jumped to the Isha Upanishad, especially the first verse, right? Isha Vasyam idam sarvam. Basically, we're talking about like you have this as your quota and you shouldn't go over that. And in
Mm,
that verse, Srila Prabhupada also describes that whenever people try to go over that quota or take something that's not theirs, they like you're knowingly that it's someone else's, you're taking it, which definitely is wrong to do. And also, like, it may spark feelings of like greediness or something like that, which could spoil your Krishna consciousness eventually.
right. It's like going above and beyond what you like want. And like if it's somebody else's, then it's like even worse. That makes sense. Does anyone? Yes. Go ahead.
Um, I was also thinking about uh Well, we have Ekadashi like we had earlier this week, and we have every couple weeks. And of course, on festivals, we have this reminder that we're fasting, and it's not necessarily for, I don't know, starving ourselves or whatever, but it's more so we can spend more time on meditating and chanting the holy name of Krishna and reading about his glories and just that being in that atmosphere of, being spiritually aware. So we spend less time. I think that's another um not advantage, what's the word? But that's another aspect of, I think, the restriction on eating just as much as we need to, but not more than that. Because we spend a lot of time on ordinary days, I think, thinking about where we're going to eat, where we're going to cook, how long we're going to, spend on cooking, how much time is going to take, all these things. And it takes a long chunk out of our day, I think. And some other people, I think we're good, but most people who aren't devotees, I think they also spend a lot of time eating out, and which takes a lot of time, energy, as well as money, because that uh, it's not free, right? So I think just on all those aspects, this overall principle of just spending less time and resources, catering more or catering less time and resources toward eating food or thinking about it is conducive for time and resources that we can otherwise cater toward improving our Krishna consciousness.
Wait, I really like that. Like so much. I think that like definitely like hit the nail on the head for me and answered it. Because you're right. Like if you're like trying to eat more than necessary, I feel like your mood is like very different and you're like absorbed in that thought process. And since like this point is so transferable to collecting more funds than required, like you can just like do like school and like go through everything like Hamar says methodically but dispassionately. But then if you do like more than required, then you're putting like so much like mental energy into that, which makes so much sense for like both. Like not putting I feel like our mood for devotional service has more propensity to get changed. That was a really good point. Thank you. And wait, what you said about prasad is so interesting, Manya. I feel like your mood has to be like really important. Like if you're thinking about like I'm gonna cook for Krishna and like this is my service for the day or whatever, then it would make sense to spend time on it, right? Yeah.
I think consciousness really matters. So I like what you said.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. Thanks for helping with my question, guys. We can move on to the next part of our program, which is the Damodarashtakam reading.
Okay, today we're on verse 3 and 4. So we covered 1 and 2 last time. So I'll just read or sing it, and you can sing it behind your muted mics, and I'll just read the translation. And then later we will go over some commentary by Sanatan Goswami, but we'll also have a short game. I think it's okay. इति दृक्स्वलीलाभिरानन्दकुण्डे स्वघोषं निमाजन्तम् आख्यापयन्तम् तदीयशिताग्नेषु भक्तिर्जितत्वं पुनः प्रेमतास्तं शतावृत्ति वन्दे. By such childhood pastimes as this, he is drowning the inhabitants of Gokula in pools of ecstasy, and is revealing to those devotees who are absorbed in knowledge of his supreme majesty and opulence that he is only conquered by devotees whose pure love is imbued with intimacy and is free from all conceptions of awe and reverence. With great love, I again offer my obeisances to Lord Damodara hundreds and hundreds of times. वरं देवमोक्षं न मोक्षावधिं वा न चन्यं वृणेऽहं वरेशादपीह इदं ते वपुर्नाथ गोपालबालं सदा मे मनस्य virastam kimanye. O Lord, although you are able to give all kinds of benedictions, I do not pray to you for the boon of impersonal liberation, nor the highest liberation of eternal life in Vaikuntha, nor any other boon which may be obtained by executing the 9 processes of bhakti. O Lord, I simply wish that this form of yours as Bala Gopal and Vrindavan may ever be manifest in my heart. For what is the use to me of any other boon besides this? All right. Now we will go into a short game, which is putting Damodar Leela in order. It's really fun. We did it before too, if you've been here, but it'll be a little refresher of how the sequence plays. And yeah, it'll be on the screen in 2 seconds. Okay, you can go to the next
Yes.
slide. Okay.
So everyone can take like a minute to think about it. And then if you have the order, you can like put it in the chat. And then like if you're confident, we can raise our hands and then say it.
I think the first one would be like feeling neglected. Krishna breaks a pot of yogurt she was churning.
Yes, for sure.
But the first one would be Mother Yashoda leaves Krishna to attend the boiling milk. And then second one,
Oh,
feeling neglected.
Yeah.
Krishna breaks, and then Krishna shares the butter. And then
We'll give bonus points to people who can put it in the chat.
I'll just put the numbers, or should I say it?
How
oh yeah,
about
you can say it.
Okay. So, sorry, my video's not working. But
You're good.
so I think it would first be one, like Mother Yashoda leaves Krishna. Then feeling neglected, Krishna breaks a pot of yogurt. Then Krishna shares it with his friends. Then yeah, Yashoda catches Krishna. Yashoda catches Krishna disturbing butter and approaches with Krishna with a stick. Then after catching him, Mother Yashoda tries to tie Krishna to a grinding mortar. Then the rope is 2 fingers too short, and then finally tied. Krishna breaks the 2 trees, or makes the 2 trees collapse.
Yay. That was really good. I feel like you did it on the fly too, which was awesome. I have trouble with this game, but you did great. Okay, and I think that concludes the reading of the pastime, but we're gonna enter more deeply into the pastime with some commentaries from Sanatana Goswami.
a lot of people got it in the chat too? Vivan and Mayuri. That's awesome. But thanks for joining us, Shian. Where are you joining us from?
San Diego.
Oh, wow. Niharika, isn't that where you're from?
Yes, I was gonna say hi. Are you coming to temple tomorrow?
Yeah, I am.
Great, I'll see you there then.
So smooth.
All right.
Let me just,
I'll
name myself.
We're going to be resuming with our presentation on the commentaries by Sanatana Goswami on the Damodar Ashtagam. So just as we went over the third and fourth verses today, we went over the first and second verses last week, by the way. But this week we're going to be doing verses 3 and 4, which we just read. Shriyan unfortunately missed it because he joined just now, but we had another chance to look at both of these verses in a more detailed fashion. And so we see the first part of the third verse, Iti Dikshva Leelabhir Ananda Kunde. So in this way, that literally translates to Krishna's playful acts, being able to show his dependency on his devotees, who are mostly all the people in Golok or Gokul are devotees of Krishna in one way or another because they don't recognize that he's necessarily the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but out of their natural loving inclination for Krishna, who was a baby at the time, and a very mischievous one at that, according to this pastime, they developed that sort of love for him out of either parental or just friendship. And we see this as an example Sanatana Goswami mentions in this commentary with the gopis, and especially Mother Yashoda. And of course, when Krishna grows up, he's very much associated with gopis and Radharani. But we see this first part of this verse referring to especially the adults who take on this role of parents, and uh, they have that parental love for Krishna because of just the way he brings joy to their lives. Iti driksva lilabhi. So by means of these pastimes, he demonstrates that sort of uh, personality. And such transcendental pastimes make everyone in Gokula feel very just happy. They forget all their problems, all their miseries. Wouldn't you like to be just forgetful of all your miseries? I think we have so many problems every day. Just wake up, think about what's going to happen today. And so I'm pretty jealous of the people in Vrindavan in this pastime. And they become drowned in pools of ecstasy and pure bliss. That's what Satyavrata Rishi says in the translation. That's how much Krishna brings joy to their lives. They're drowning in pools of ecstasy. That sounds amazing. And the part of this verse is Ananda Kunde. That literally means just like Radha Kund or Shyam Kund, we see Ananda Kund, which is a pool of bliss and ecstasy. Swaghosham nimajjantam. So this is again just referring to the act of drowning them in his own pools of ecstasy. And this is referring to Krishna's pastimes of specifically uh, being able, as a baby, he's doing these kind of feats as trying to pick up like really heavy weights. Obviously, as a baby, it's really tough, but it's cute when you see a baby trying to lift something heavy or, like wooden shoes, uh, of course, we see in this pastime wooden grinding mortar. He's trying to pull it all the way from the courtyard to the trees that are placed conveniently outside the courtyard, where we'll see later in this Damodar Ashtakam as well as described. Does anyone know what those trees are, the significance of those trees?
Those trees had Kuvera and Nala Kuvera inside, and they got cursed that they would be in Krishna's courtyard, I think, and then they'll once get like liberated by Krishna.
Right, exactly, Part. Thank you. So yeah, this is all just another feat, not only to show Krishna's, strength, but also a way of showing his mercy to liberate two devotees who were cursed to stand there as trees. And we'll see this later in the next couple weeks when we go through the translations of the next verses of the Damodar Ashtakam. But this is the essence of the entire song that Satyavrata Rishi writes, is that every act of Krishna brings delight to his devotees. That's why they're drowning in bliss, because anything he does, they find this sort of, oh, how cute. He's a baby. He's trying to do like these miraculous feats. It's obviously impossible, but somehow he's doing it. And of course, they never understand that until later that he's the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But as a baby, it's very uh, titillating for them to see. So I'm just trying to imagine for me, it's just how would that feel if I was watching this kid that I've watched grow up just do these immense, crazy tasks and can never really wrap our head around it. And so the next line in this verse is through these glorious pastimes, Krishna reveals a great secret to those who are especially looking and considering Krishna with this sense of awe and reverence rather than love and devotion. So there's this difference in bhavas, which is Aishwarya bhav. We see this in uh, Vishnu and Vaikuntha. We see people more taking up a servant master type of mentality rather than, some a relationship of love and devotion and affection. So Krishna reveals through this pastime that all those people, they can have even a better approach and a better relationship with him, a more deep and meaningful, intimate relationship with him, built on love. And that's the part of the verse that says Akhyapayantam tadiyeshitagnyeshu. That tadiyeshitagnyeshu is referring to the people with awe and reverence. They look at Krishna as this, of course, grand, supreme personality, but they don't really consider him as someone they can approach in a loving, friendly, or uh, parental type of relationship. But obviously, all the inhabitants of Vrindavan can, and they do, they look at Krishna as either their son or their friend or their lover later on when Krishna grows up. And that's obviously the highest. And we've also seen this in the Nectar of Instruction, as we just read. The translations say that the best way to have a relationship with Krishna is through his devotees who all teach, including Rupa Goswami, the brother of Sanatan Goswami, who wrote these commentaries, that residing at Govardhan, especially in Vrindavan, and uh, developing that mood is the best for reaching the eternal abode of Krishna. And so this secret that Krishna reveals is he becomes controlled by the love of his devotees. We see in the earlier verses of Damodarashtakam, Mother Yashoda is able to bind him with love because as much as she tries to bind him with the ropes, she wasn't able to, right? As we just saw in the game, she was failing with and struggling with the task of binding him to the mortar, and the rope was always 2 fingers too short. But ultimately, after all her effort, he saw that, and Krishna allowed her to tie him with that love because she was lovingly trying to control and keep him safe. So you can you can try to approach Krishna with meditation, speculative knowledge, and power, but nothing is quite effective as Krishna says himself, controlling him with love. And so the lesson there is that love conquers God. Bhaktir Jitatvam. We're able to see the direct and practical examples of everyone in Vrindavan. Yeah, Vivan?
This actually reminds me of another like another story, but it's not in Krishna Lila, it's actually in Gaur Lila. And this happens right after the Rath Yatra, right? Whenever the King Pratap Pudra he comes and he wasn't able to like get association with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu through his power, like through being king. But then whenever he came dressed as a sannyasi or a devotee, and then he came and started massaging Lord Chaitanya's feet, then Lord Chaitanya allowed him to get association and like interact with him. And he was actually so pleased. He was like, "Who are you? Who are you? Great? Who are you? Like this great person."
Yeah, really nice example. And that's right. When you approach uh, Krishna or Lord Chaitanya with love and devotion, you can see the results right away almost. Just in any sense, in sort of sense, in the consciousness, in your just mental and emotional uh, healthiness. So yeah, Parth.
I think that Lord, like also to add on, Lord Pratap Bharat was also talking about Krishna while he was massaging. So, uh, Lord Chaitanya didn't want him to stop talking. So then he was able to interact.
Hmm. Thank you, Parth. Yeah, Shriyan, and we'll move on after
Well,
that.
This also makes me like think of like Vidura, the story of Vidura. Duryodhan also invited him for like a lunch, and then he said that he'd much rather go to the house of Vidura, who was a like simple like householder. And then yeah, so I thought it would like it went kind of hand in hand with that.
Perfect. Another great example. Yeah, and we see this time and time again. And in that example, Krishna also goes to his home for lunch, and
And then
Vidura's wife ends up feeding him banana peels.
yeah.
But out of that pure love that Vidura and his wife both had towards Krishna, all they had was love. They didn't have much. They didn't have the same sort of resources. Of course, they were part of the royal family in a sense, but they weren't as high in position as Duryodhan or Dhritarashtra, right? So, but of course, Dhritarashtra, Duryodhan didn't have the same love and compassion. They saw Krishna as this magician, and oh, just he's got magical powers. He's sort of uh, he's a trickster, but he's not like they didn't have that conception that he's God. But the duality here is that the Vrindavan inhabitants, they have no conception that he's God necessarily, but they have so much love and affection. Vidura and his wife, I think they had the conception that he was God, but also still just loved him like anything. So there's these even very nuanced differences in the love and the way that people had their own special relationships with Krishna in their own mind. And it was, as Shriyan and Parth and Vivan all described, there's a special type of love that these devotees demonstrate according to their own capabilities and dispositions. So that's the best way is to approach him with love and affection in whatever way you can. And moving on to the last part of verse 3, Satyavrata Rishi spontaneously adopts this loving mood inspired by the pure devotees of Krishna in the village of Gokul. And he once again offers obeisances. He says, Puna premata tastam satavriti vande. Out of love and affection, the sage chants the Lord's glories and offers his obeisances hundreds and hundreds of times, shatavriti vande. And he does this every verse so far that we've looked at. He's constantly appreciating the glories of the Lord and then uh, offering his obeisances spontaneously. And it's supposed to be understood that Sanatana Goswami said it was understood to be spontaneous, just spurs of devotion that Satyavrata Rishi has as he's writing this Damodarashtakam. So it's very special to see just the understanding of sort of behind the scenes when Satyavrata Rishi was writing this poem in appreciation and glorification of Lord Damodar. And now we'll hand it off to Manya for the next verse.
Yes, thank you, Chaitanya, for that beautiful explanation of the commentary. So we'll go on verse 4. And before I go on what it means, I want you to imagine if Krishna came in front of you right now, what would you ask him? maybe uh I'm trying to think right now with you. But it would be really hard for us to ask what is in this prayer, and this is entirely what this verse is talking about. So it goes by starting saying Varam Deva Moksham Na Moksha Vadhimva. So it describes three things that we don't want. So Deva means O Lord. So Varam Deva. Moksham means liberation. Moksha Vadimva means eternal life in Vaikuntha. So when they're saying this, they're describing three levels. So the first level is liberation. Higher than liberation is eternal life in Vaikuntha with Krishna. Even higher than that, if you go to the next part, uh, it's executing the 9 processes of bhakti. So the speaker is saying that I'm not hankering for liberation. I'm not hankering for Vaikuntha, that eternal life with Krishna, where happiness is experienced and Krishna is in his Narayan form. And I'm also not desiring anything that can be obtained by the 9 processes of bhakti, which is Prahlad Maharaj describes as Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, etc. So Krishna is in front of you and you're saying, I don't want liberation. I don't want to go to Vaikuntha. I don't want anything that can be obtained by 9 processes of bhakti. So they go step by step. Not liberation, not Vaikuntha. I don't even want bhakti, which is higher than all of these. So Krishna is like, what do you want then? So then next slide will describe uh, what it's asking for, and that's a sublime desire. So here we're asking for Krishna to be present in front in his Bal Gopal form in Vrindavan. So Varam Deva Moksham na Moksha Vadimba Nachanyam Vrineham Vareshad Apiha. So here, Apiha, so Iha means here in Vrindavan, and Vareshad means from you who can bestow any benediction. And it's saying, I do not seek any boon. And it's understood that only the form of Krishna, like seeing Krishna in his form in Vrindavan, is the highest. Because even if you attained all of that, but you don't see Krishna, then all of that is useless. So it says Kimanye. Kimanye means like, I don't want anything. So yeah, Idam te vapur natha gopala balam. So it's a prayer to Krishna to enter our mind forever in his form as Bal Gopal in Vrindavan. And then, well, Krishna is already present in our heart as super soul. So it's saying like, although you're already present in my heart as a super soul, let your form be manifested in my meditation in its full-fledged beauty, and may that form be ever manifest in our heart. So it's seeing this form of Krishna as a cowherd boy in Vrindavan. Sadame manasya virasam kimanye. So kimanye means I don't want anything else. That it's saying, what is the value of other boons? It's that Krishna's presence and perfection implies that that's the best kind of pleasure that anyone can have. And it's hard to come to this realization, but it's good to know that that's the goal, um, you know, because they are, it's saying that they're of no value to me. And the reason behind this attitude is that if Krishna is attained, if you see Krishna, then all of the bliss is automatically attained. All those 3 things are automatically attained. But if we cannot attain Krishna, then the imperfection that we get in the absence of Krishna, of the desired goal, actually creates more misery in the heart of the devotee. So the devotees that, once I've attained Krishna, everything will come. It's like watering the tree. So here, that's why it said all the other boons are useless. We don't even want liberation. We don't want Vaikuntha. We don't even want anything that can come from the 9 processes of bhakti, but only want to see your form as Bal Gopal in Vrindavan, and may that form be situated in my heart, because once I have that form situated, then everything can come after that. So it's a beautiful prayer showing that at the core of bhakti and pure love, the devotee doesn't even desire for liberation. And you may have heard other speakers, profound speakers, and practitioners of Bhakti Yoga say that they just want to serve wherever they are. I heard Vaisheshika Prabhu when he was doing his readings, and before ending the book reading, they said, may we don't take birth in this world again unless we want to come and distribute more books. So, it's not that we want to go out of this world, but its consciousness itself was serving. So if you're here for service, and we'll see so many devotees that they're just not even part of the material plane, they're totally spiritual, and they're here and they're helping us become lifted by their association. So we can look at their example and see people that are actually living this prayer and follow that. It was a very inspiring verse for me to dive into as well, and I hope that it helped everyone immerse more. So whenever you hear this, you'll be like, wow, I don't even want liberation. I just want Krishna. So, yeah. All right, I'll hand it off to Chaitanita now for leading our reflection session for today.
Thank you so much, Manya, for leading that beautiful breakdown of those that verse. It was really nice and engaging as well. I think when you think about what you want to say to God, I never even think about that. So it was a really thought-provoking question. Got me thinking. I think Myri had something to say, but she put her hand down afterward.
Oh,
Oh, that was by mistake.
Oh, okay.
do you
Well,
want oh, sorry. I was gonna say, do you want to say something by not mistake? Sorry for I don't know if there's a word for mom jokes, but I feel like that would be a mom joke.
Oh,
well, in any case, quite a lot today, and I think it's all very, yeah, Myri?
So I was also wondering, how do we view in Krishna consciousness? Because I have a lot of friends. So for trick-or-treating and Halloween, so how should we view that? From the Krishna consciousness. Should we participate? Should we just pretend it's a normal day?
Well, I think you don't have to be so worried about, unless you're worried about you're going to miss out on something other like uh, a temple program or devotional service of some sort. If you're going to be missing out on that, then yeah, maybe you should. It's worth considering. But otherwise, I think as children have done, and I've done when I was younger as well, going on trick or treating for Halloween. It's fun, and especially if you're with friends, uh, who wouldn't want a big basket of candy from their neighboring houses or wherever you're going? I don't know. But yeah, if you have anything that might be a better use of your time, not saying that obviously. Oh, there's a good idea. Manya's saying you can offer your candy to Krishna. Of course. Yeah, so there's nothing I think wrong with it, but I might be wrong. I don't know. As long as you're uh celebrating it, it's still in the mood of goodness. Obviously, you don't want to dress up as something that's completely detracting from the mode of goodness. But as long as you're still not, I think your spiritual progress isn't hurt, then you shouldn't be worried about it. But if you're thinking about going to, I think it's on a Friday, right? So if you have a Friday evening program of some sort or some other type of engagement, then yeah, it would be worth considering. Maybe you should skip out on the trick or treating. I'm not saying you should, but there's that. Of course, yes. Shriyan is saying yeah, be
Okay.
careful for candies with gelatin or with eggs.
What I normally do is some people I have some people it's kind of weird to turn down the candy at the when they give it to you. So I'll collect all of it and then those candies that have gelatin or eggs in them, I'll just throw them away when I get home.
That's a
I used to
good,
do that too.
yeah.
Okay,
What
thank
we do
you.
is we also collect them, but then we just give away the candy that we can't eat. Instead of just throwing it away, we just give it to other people because
Yeah.
it is candy.
Yeah.
I was
Doing
also,
go ahead. You're good.
wait, this is such a good question. I was just thinking about it as well from like something I remember that could be tied in is from the Ishopanishad where it says know the process of nations and knowledge side by side. So maybe if you understand what this material happiness is, it's okay. You get a sense of the material world, but then you realize that Krishna consciousness is better. So it doesn't hurt to get a sense of it, but because the getting that knowledge can help you in understanding what's better.
I was thinking it also could be a good preaching opportunity if you dress up as someone from the Bhagavatam instead of like someone from Harry Potter or some sort of demon or ghost. Of course, you could
Yeah,
also dress up as a demon from.
that's also like what all the parents here are saying. They keep
Yeah,
telling us, like, do something from Srimad Bhagavatam.
yeah, someone, because inevitably people will ask you, "What are you dressed up as?" Because if they haven't seen,
Yeah.
if you're not a Star Wars or Harry Potter character or something that's really popular in media, such as, I don't know, a Brajavasi,
You
then
just go
people will have
dhoti and
questions.
kurta. Can just go in dhoti and kurta.
Yeah. And you can say this is, and you have that whole opportunity to tell them about who you're dressed up as, what that character's from, what's the significance. And maybe if you have time, if time willing, then you can introduce them in some form or another to Krishna consciousness. Yes, Shriyan?
Last year I was kind of like forced to do that because Diwali was on Halloween. So my Halloween costume was like a kurta.
Ah,
Did
that's
people
great.
ask you?
I yeah, they did, but I just told them that was like Diwali and stuff. I didn't really yeah.
That's true, since it was the same day.
Yeah, they're on the same day last year.
Mm.
Well, in speaking of Diwali and festivals, do you know, I think Diwali is coming up in a couple days, right?
It is, yep. And today is Deepavali, I think.
Yeah, today's
Is
Diwali.
it today?
Yep. And then tomorrow's Choti Diwali, and then the day after is Diwali.
Yeah,
Oh,
today's
okay.
Dhanteras and then Monday's Diwali.
Okay, yeah, Monday. That's what I thought. And then the day after that is Govardhan Puja, right? We get to we get to
Oh,
worship Sri Govardhan Maharaj.
Yeah. Yeah, it
we're
is.
doing we in our temple we're having Govardhan Puja tomorrow, and it's a really big celebration since our temple is New Govardhan. So
Yes, it's in San Diego.
yeah.
What a beautiful festival. I want to see that.
Come.
As we read in the Nectar of Instruction, Govardhan is one of the best places. It's better than the rest of Vrindavan. It's better than Mathura. And the only place that beats Govardhan is obviously Radha Kund, which is in that area. But Govardhan is such a valuable place to stay at for developing that best mood of Krishna consciousness that we're talking about. Yeah, Shriyan?
When Prabhupada was in his last stages of life, he was in Vrindavan at that time, and he really wanted to go to Govardhan. And this is from a book called Memories.
Hmm.
Uh, and and then all the people, all the devotees with him were really worried since he was in the last stages of his life, and then I think he didn't end up going, but like it really delivers a message that Prabhupada really wanted to. He was already in Vrindavan at that time, but he really wanted to go to Govardhan. Yeah.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing that, Shriyan. Does anyone else have any reflections, anything that they liked about the program or just anything that's going on in the week or in the month? How's everyone's Kartik month going?
Fun. Fun.
Fun.
Me and my brother are trying to chant at least like 2 rounds per day. So we're just trying
Hey,
to.
nice. That's good. If you have that consistency. Kartik is one of the best times to actually develop those sort of uh, practices because it's like a New Year's resolution, but for spiritual stuff. Of course, not that you can't take up spiritual practices for the new year, but this is earlier than that, so it's a nice preview opportunity at least. All right. If no one else, anything else, this was really nice, and I really enjoyed every every activity of this youth jam session that we did. because it was all in the mood of Kartik and being able to reflect on the glories of Sri Vrindavan and then the glories of Sri Damodar and the Damodar Ashtakam and Sri Govardhan. I was really brought back into the mood of, or at least introduced to the mood of being able to appreciate what Krishna consciousness means for me and all the devotees around us. So, with that, we'll close with a
I
prayer.
had one question. So
Oh, yeah,
in
Parth.
Kartik, everything is multiplied by 1,000. Any devotional service you do is multiplied by 1,000, right? Is that correct?
Yeah, that's what I've heard as well.
Mm,
I'm
okay.
sure it's right
Okay.
because it's in the sense of uh, getting into the mood of devotional service and just being able to engage with and associate with other devotees. Regardless of when in the year, it's the best. But yeah, if you're going to do it at least once a year, it's going to be, I think Kartik is the best time to do it. Vivan?
I've also heard that like it's not only devotional things that are multiplied by 1,000, but it's anything that you do. So it's like even if you're doing something that's like against Krishna consciousness, that's also multiplied by 1,000 times. You have
Oh
to be like
no,
you have to be really careful what you're doing in this month.
that's a really
I didn't
important
know that. Interesting.
that's a really important point. Whatever you do is amplified, regardless of whether it's bad or good.
Vivan's birthday was like 2 days ago on Ekadashi.
Oh, Haribol, happy birthday.
Oh my gosh, happy birthday. How old are you?
I turned 14.
Hare Krishna.
Oh,
Well, wishing Vivan a happy birthday and I think everyone a happy Diwali as well as Govardhan Puja coming up and a happy Kartik. It's always happy Kartik. We
Happy
can,
yes.
birthday to you too.
thank you.
Happy everything. Haribo.
Everything.
Happy everything.
Thank you all for joining. We'll see you back here next Saturday at 3 p.m. Pacific time and 6 p.m. Eastern. I got those timings right. Hare Krishna. Thank
And
you all for
5 p.m.
joining.
Central.
5 p.m. Central. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare